Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're going to break down how life insurance can be one of the most powerful and honestly overlooked tools for protecting your business and making sure it doesn't just survive, but actually thrives for years to come.
All right, let's take a quick look at our roadmap. We're starting with a business's worst nightmare. Then we'll get into insuring your most valuable assets. After that, we'll talk ownership succession, see how buy-sell agreements work in the real world, and wrap it all up by talking about how to really lock in your company's future.
Okay, first up, we have to talk about the scenario that pretty much every business owner hopes they'll never have to face. It's the kind of thing that can unravel decades of hard work in an instant.
So this is the big one, right? Could your business actually make it if its most important person was suddenly gone? And listen, we're not just talking about the owner here. This could be anybody. Your superstar salesperson, that genius coder, the operations manager who just makes everything work. You know, that person whose knowledge and skills are literally woven into the fabric of the company. Poof, gone. What happens then?
So how in the world do you protect against a risk like that? Well, your first line of defense is a special kind of insurance that's designed to act like a financial safety net for the business itself.
It's called Key Employee Insurance, and the concept is actually pretty simple, but man is it powerful. The business itself identifies an employee who is absolutely critical to its success, and it takes out a life insurance policy on that person. And here's the key part. If that employee passes away, the business, not the employee's family, gets the payout.
And the way this works gets at a really important idea called third-party ownership. See, because the business has a direct financial interest in that employee's life, an insurable interest they call it, it's legally allowed to be the applicant, the owner, the one paying the bills, and the one who gets the check. So what does the business do with all that cash? Well, it's not just some random windfall, it's a strategic war chest. This money provides a financial cushion to manage the chaos. It gives the company the breathing room and the resources it needs to find and train a great replacement, and most importantly, keep the lights on and the doors open.
And here is one of the biggest perks, a massive financial incentive. Now the premiums the business pays, those usually aren't tax deductible. But the death benefit, that huge payout, is received by the business 100% tax-free. That's a huge deal.
Okay, so protecting key talent is one thing. But, the stakes get way, way higher when we start talking about the owners themselves. Now, the entire future of the business is on the line.
This is exactly where things can get incredibly messy, fast. Without a solid plan, a partner's death can legally dissolve the whole partnership. It can force a sale of assets, probably for way less than they're worth, and it creates absolute chaos for the surviving owners who are left trying to figure it all out.
The solution? It's something called a buy-sell agreement. Honestly, the best way to think about it is like a business prenup for the owners. It's a formal contract that forces their surviving owners to buy the deceased owner's share, and it forces the estate to sell it, all for a price they agreed on ahead of time. And the life insurance? That's just the funding mechanism. It's the cash that makes the whole thing happen smoothly.
So let's get into the nitty-gritty of how these agreements are actually put together, because it is definitely not a one-size-fits-all kind of deal.
For a sole proprietor, it's a really clean and straightforward plan for continuity. You find a trusted key employee who agrees to take over one day. They go out and buy an insurance policy on the owner's life. When the owner passes, that employee gets the insurance money and uses it to buy the business from the estate. Boom, the legacy continues.
Now, for partnerships, you've basically got two main flavors. With an entity plan, the partnership itself, the business entity, buys a policy on each partner. With a cross-purchase plan, each partner buys a policy on every other partner. So the big difference really boils down to who owns the insurance. And this table right here shows you exactly why that distinction matters so much. Look, for two partners, it's the same either way, two policies, no big deal. But see what happens with a cross-purchase plan as you add more partners. With 4 partners, you're suddenly juggling 12 separate insurance policies. The complexity just explodes, which is why the entity plan is usually the way to go for larger groups.
And hey, this isn't just for partnerships. These same core ideas apply to closely held corporations too. An entity plan in that world is just called a stock redemption plan. The corporation buys back the deceased shares, and the remaining stockholders keep control. The business stays stable.
So, we've looked at all these different structures, from key employees to sole proprietors to partnerships. What is the big strategic takeaway from all of this?
I mean, this quote really says it all, doesn't it? The whole point is to protect the actual business, the entity you've poured your blood, sweat, and tears into.
It creates stability, it prevents a fire sale, and it lets the surviving partners stay in control without having to scramble for cash or, even worse, take on new, unknown partners. So, if you remember one thing, let it be this. These plans aren't about death. They're about continuity. They are proactive, smart business strategies. This is about guaranteeing the future of your company, protecting its value, and securing the legacy you've worked so hard to create.
And that really brings us to the final and most important question. It's the one every single business owner needs to be asking themselves. Are you prepared? Have you done what it takes to protect the value, the people, and the legacy that you've built? So, what's your continuity plan?